Video is to explain to you the purpose of the operational forms and records in the back of your diary. There's sufficient forms and space for you to fill them out throughout the 12 months that you have your diary. The first one is the illness record. This is where you record when a child becomes sick when they're at your home or when they're absent due to illness. The purpose of this is so we can see what sorts of illnesses are going through your home for reporting to Department of Health, or also for the child's individual health records. First, put in the date that the child was absent or that you sent the child home. In the detail of illness, put their name and what the illness was, vomiting, diarrhea, rash, that the child was sent home or was absent, and the amount of days that they were away. You can also use the incident, injury and illness form to track a child's illness while they're at your home, which can assist you to make a decision in whether they can stay or whether they're becoming unwell and need to leave. For example, if a child has a low temperature, you might start to record that on the incident, injury and illness form. And then if you send them home, you then put it onto this form. And then if they're absent, you add in how many days they were away. The next form is the incident, accident and injury record. So if a child has an accident at your house or there's a near miss, this is where you fill this record in. Firstly, of course, you do the incident, injury and illness record that we discussed before, which is the report that shows exactly what happens for the parents to have a look at and sign off, and that is the report that we need to keep until that child turns 25 years of age. So make sure that when you do fill it out, that you fill it out properly, as it becomes a legal record once you have completed it and it is signed by the parent. It then needs to be submitted to us so that we can archive it. You then make a record of what went on that form on this record so that we know that we need to make sure we've received that form and we have it archived. This also works as a work health safety form for you, so you can see if there are similar accidents happening or near misses happening in your home, which might lead to a change in practice or a change of piece of furniture or your environment. So you put the date, the detail of what happened, which can include the child's name, the action that was taken, whether you removed the furniture, what you did, what first aid you had to apply, did you call an ambulance, and then the reporting that occurred. So if the child fell over and grazed their knee, well, you would just put that you filled in an incident report. If the child fell over and broke their arm, well, you would be writing down that obviously you notified the parents, you notified Country Children's Early Learning, and then we notified the Department of Education and Communities. Any incident or accident that requires the child to have seek medical attention or go by ambulance needs to be reported to the department within 24 hours of the incident. The medication log, it has a similar purpose to the previous form, where we need to keep any medication form that you fill out for a child until that child is 25 years of age. So just when you start a medication form for a child, pop the date in here and the child's name. We then know that we need to seek out that form and make sure that we archive it until they're 25 years of age. Again, make sure that you fill this form in correctly so that it can become a legal record. The outing logs. These logs are, again, to help us to monitor the amount of excursions that you are going on and the current excursions that you're going on, so that when we visit you, we know which risk assessments we need to be checking, and we're making sure that we're aware of all of the outings that you are going on. This is for your protection and the protection of the children. So a regular outing is perhaps a school pick up and drop off that you might do each day. Might be that you go to playgroup each week. What you do at the beginning of the year when you've reviewed your excursions, you write the date in here. So for example, 1st of January, where it is, playgroup, date reviewed, 31st of December. The home-based, venue-based risk assessments, these are just for the additional risk assessments some educators have if they live on properties and they take the children to spaces that aren't a part of their usual home usage agreement. The separate excursion log is for one-off excursions that you might do, for example, to the zoo. The professional development record, it really is just for you if you want to fill it in so you can keep your own record of the training that you have done and how you've implemented it into your service. Operational requirements is the same. It's similar to the form that you fill in when you do your re-registration documents. Just a guide for you on when all your things are due for renewal. The risk assessments is the next part of the operational forms. First, we have the home venue usage agreement, which gets filled out based on the annual risk assessment that the coordinators do in February each year, describing which areas of the home that they've agreed with you and in the risk assessment that are going to be utilised, the areas that aren't going to be used, and how they're going to be secured. The next one is a list of the sleeping rooms and what type of bedding is used. This is so that we can keep track with you on what type of sleeping arrangements that you're using, and we don't forget to make sure that we're picking safe spaces for the children to sleep. Which is why we also have the diagram. So if you use a room that is not usually used for your family daycare, you can use a cot in these rooms, not a stretcher bed, a cot for a child who is not mobile and can't get out of the cot. And this map helps us to decide where to place them so that children aren't placed near hazards like blind cords or tall chests of drawers where they could pull something into the cot that they could choke on, or something could fall in and hurt them. The specific safety measures to put into place for a home or venue are for anything that's specific to your house that needs additional steps to make sure that it's safe for the children. For example, you might have a set of stairs that can't be gated, that other measures need to be in place for, or you might have high windows that open up. We need to make note that they should only be opened a certain amount, and that's what this space is for. The hand washing procedures, we've put the hand washing procedures, nappy change and food safety procedures because in every home they're different. And when we put them in here, it means that it's clear to you and it's clear to your coordinator what the procedures are that you're using, and we know that we've agreed upon procedures that are in keeping with our policies and the requirements. These things can change throughout the year. You just need to let us know if they're going to change so that we can work together to make sure that they still meet the health and safety requirements. There's then the agreement at the bottom that you sign, including a smoking area. If you or any of your household members are smokers, there needs to be a designated smoking area that is away from the children and doesn't allow the smoke to permeate to where the children are. If you are a family daycare educator, you shouldn't be smoking while the children are in care. Have a look at our tobacco, drug and alcohol policy if this is an issue for you, and work out where that area should be. The safe sleeping practices, similar to what was in the tools, tasks and practices diary last year. This is where we're specifying what your sleeping practices are, so how you communicate with families, what your sleep environment is, what considerations you put into place, how you keep it healthy and safe, and what your sleep monitoring practices are. You can copy the information that you put in your tools, tasks and practices diary straight into here for this year because they will be based upon our policy and the Red Nose research that you did. If you need any help with this, just let us know. The pet management plan is so that we know that you have thought about how you're going to keep your pets and all of the food, bowls and sleeping and all the things related to your pets separate and apart from the children. So detail the pet, what type of pet, the pet's name, how you keep them separate, and then how you ensure that the environment is health and hygienic where their food and bowls and things are so that they can't be accessed by the children, and how you ensure that any droppings are cleared away from any play spaces that the children use. We also have the additional risk assessments in here. Regulation 97.2 requires the identification and practice of risk assessments for potential risks at your home. For example, snakes, if you go on a lot of excursions, a car breakdown, if you live on a busy street, perhaps an intruder, and this is where you detail these potential hazards, and then these hazards for Regulation 97.2 are the other drills that are practiced when you do your quarterly drills. So you fill it in the same way that you fill in the risk assessments for our excursion form, saying what the activity is, what the hazard is, how high the risk is, what you're going to do to prevent the risk, who's responsible, and when you're going to do it. You then practice these risks assessments when you do those quarterly drills. The next one we have is driveway access. Every child has to get dropped off at a driveway of some sort in family daycare. Some driveways are in the yard, some driveways are out of the yard. It is good practice to detail below how you want families to drop off their children to ensure the safety of children from moving vehicles. So it's a good idea to fill this one in and communicate it to your families. This third one is for you to fill in throughout the year as activities come up that you want to do for children that are a little bit more risky than the usual ones. Perhaps you want to take children for a bike ride, you might do some animal feeding, or you might do cooking where you have to consider the heat and the oven. You might also, in the summer, perhaps want to have a paddling pool, and this is where you would detail the risks in this form here. We've made plenty of space in case you want to do lots of risky things. And then that is the end of the operational form of the diary. If you have any questions when you're filling it out, please contact us. But please make sure that you do fill in all those sections because they've all been put in for an important purpose. Thank you.